Hey everybody, welcome to podcast 10 of the Phuket Retreat 2026, where we talk about different topics because we are going to Thailand, or Toni, who is my co-host, is already there, in 2026. We're going to talk today about investing in yourself. Hey Toni.
Hello, thank you again. Nice to see everyone. And Skye, hello, my love.
Hey, and Happy New Year, Toni, and everybody watching.
Happy New Year. Oh, is it? I'm going to be talking. I've actually got a few conversations I'm going to be expressing over the next week or two about this corrupted Happy New Year BS. But we'll go with it. The energy is strong, potent. But
sure.
When is the real New Year? That is what I'll be sharing, but that'll be in another podcast. But yeah, Happy New Year, because this is a time when people have put that energy into change and new things and letting go. And that's why we wanted to talk about investing in yourself, because this is a great time because of the energy. So no matter if it is BS or myth,
well, I hadn't really thought about it till you said it. It's because at the end of the year you get so busy, right? And you're like, what did you do New Year's? And I'm like, well, I love not doing anything because I've just so much has been going on. And in fact, change, and my life has never changed dramatically on New Year's. It is a social construct. It's changed when it was meant to change, when I've made changes and essentially invested in myself. And we can do that anytime. It almost feels a little exhausting doing it right now, right?
Yeah, but ride the wave, ride it as well. Don't ever feel, because people do feel, I feel it already. I feel, there is a few shifts happening. Things have been a little bit, especially December, distracted with other things. But now you're sort of like re-coming together, reset. So it is an opportunity to maximize on this, but don't beat yourself up if things aren't happening straight away. And I know, because look at the gyms, the prime example, gyms are heavily busy in January and then they die off, people get, but just steadily, the new year, which I will be talking more about, is more in the April time. You've got your Chinese New Year, February, and then you've got the Thai New Year, which is actually classed as like the official sort of time. So really we've got this 4 months. This is what I'll delve deeper into a video, and I'll be sharing on Facebook on my platforms. But basically this is an opportunity to just sort of like get into flow and start creating ideas, the person you want to become now and what you want to shed. So these are really good. It's just a great time, this first quarter of the year, to start to solidify of who we want to be and become, and really more the inner work rather than external, for me personally. But there's nothing wrong with going for out setting outcomes, desires. But my real work, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is investing in yourself, the inner work, and where that stands for people. What does that mean? Because some people, what is investing in yourself? Because if we don't invest ourselves, and I'll just go straight to it, is there is a consequence, not just for you, but for others. Everything has a knock-on effect. If you're not feeling good, you're not putting yourself forward. Just like when you're on the plane, if the plane goes down, there's an emergency, and you're not putting your own oxygen mask on, you're trying to get everyone else, you're gonna die basically, or at least have some serious issues. So look after you. Even for me, in the work I do with the dogs, the work we do with others, we do a lot of healing work, contribution. But we are no good to anybody if we're not taking care of ourselves. And it's cliche, but it's so true. It's so true. Because I see so many people that don't have time for themselves, that end up being resentful. They end up being angry, depressed. And I was one of them. That's why I'm sharing. I share this quite openly, because I was one of them. I started to really dislike the world, dislike myself, dislike others, because I wasn't filling my own cup first. So I'm not saying it has to be all about yourself, but there's a foundation which we'll delve into.
This is actually I call it the knock-on effect. So people are like, I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to go to the gym. You don't know what it's like being a parent. And I'm like, I would definitely learn to do some good inside of me, because the only thing I realized when I healed myself that I've ever given the world is a result of how much I've invested or looked after myself. I healed all the relationships that were around me that were fractured and very close to me, like family, by working on myself. I thought it was they did this. They that did that to me. Very victimhood, like, oh, this always happens to me, right? But the more I looked after me, my perception changed that, maybe they were making these decisions based off that they loved me and cared for me and wanted what's best for me. And these are all perceptions that I had to make about myself and those people around me. The other thing about investments are you don't get it straight away. That's the thing, right? It's like when you invest in a business or you invest some money, is you're hedging all your bets based on like a long-term gain here, watching the dollar or the market, like yourself, if you invest in yourself, go through patterns and waves and ups and downs. And I think that's really important. So I'm just having a look. Someone said here, start investing in yourself a little bit at a time until it becomes a habit. I like that.
Yeah.
I
It is.
do.
It's that compound effect, what I talk about all the time. Like
Yes.
Darren, if you haven't read it, there's 2 books actually. Darren Hardy, Compound Effect, and Slight Edge, Jeff Olson, audio and books. And they talk about the little insignificant things we do regularly, consistently, will totally transform. And it can happen quite quick, but it might not. But all of a sudden, you're this new, like I say, what we've become and the things we do is being just through regular, consistent little things. And it's the same. It can go the opposite way. There's that cigarette that you have once a week, even, can start multiplying and have a knock-on effect. So we can do that for both sides, healthy, not so healthy. So invest in these little micro habits or little things that we can do. And habits doesn't necessarily have to mean externally, it's internally, the brain, what we're putting in through the brain, for our mind. What are we absorbing? Because for me now, it's been very conscious of my thoughts. I've always have, but you sometimes slip away from it, don't you? You're mindful of it, or you think you are, and then you see these little patterns come up in the way you talk to yourself and the way you react. It's something that is a consistent investment of reflecting and reorganizing the thoughts.
Yeah, and I love that. And that's like your oxygen mask on the plane, putting it on yourself first so you have energy, you're conscious, so you can support the child or person next to you. That is what I had to learn. So it was like I learned so many lessons when I finally saw the light, and it was all me. Like it was all me all along. And it's easier and better to give to others when you first invest in yourself, because all the just say you're surviving off food which doesn't serve you, habits that don't serve you, all these things which are not that great. And all of a sudden somebody asks you for advice. What advice do you think you're going to give them? That's the knock-on effect, right? You're not giving them a whole lot of positivity here. You're giving them a whole lot of survival tricks. And then once you learn to sit in space, give your body good food and good nutrients. And for me, I love grounding and nature. Is when someone comes and asks, "Hi, I'm not well," the knock-on effect then is sunlight, good food. Can I give you a hug? Do you want to spend time with me? And that wouldn't have been the case when I was very sick and very medicated and had addictions and all of that. Is I just was passing on the wrong sort of things.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot recently more about this. I like more preventative and lifestyle and really focusing on that. I'm not saying you can't achieve whatever, there's a lot of things that's possible, but really this is an opportunity. Even if you're well and you think, you've overcome a lot of things, still have this consciousness of, okay, where can I tweak some things that I'm doing in my life that will help me, not for today, but for tomorrow, for the future. So it's like that investment of what you're sharing about when we invest into money, and any investments might not be seen straight away, but you will start seeing shifts very quickly once you start moving towards that. Did someone else just say agree? Do little by little.
I agree. Do little by little.
And that then it doesn't feel overwhelming then, it's something I have to remind myself, having these, when you're being off, like I've not really been into the gym properly last year. I've always been consistent with the gym. That was one thing that I did remain. I got to a point where I was like, wow, for the first time in my life for a long time I felt really good in my body, in my physique. And then last year was all about really detox cleanses and just slowing down, not high intensity. But I'm going back into the gym now and lifting weights, and I'm really getting that edge, like calisthenics. And I'm trying to get to where I was before, and I'm thinking I can. And there's a part of me that's just like, I really don't have this. I think I'm in a different, I feel I'm in a different space of trying to be where I was or be someone who I was before. But now it's like I'm trying new things now, like more calisthenics. Whereas before it was just more weightlifting. And I'm doing Pilates, but the reformer and yoga. Doing yoga nearly every day now, and that was not consistent. Now this is consistent, and I was beating myself up because I was like, why ain't my strength here? I'm not feeling as strong, especially when I'm going back to sometimes doing the weights, but I don't feel motivated. I'm doing the classes because I'm not that motivated just yet, but I was putting pressure on myself trying to get to where I was. But now I'm more accepting and I'm enjoying it. Like, it's all about just enjoying this process and not rushing what is. And also not because you haven't done it for a while, but also maybe it's because you're not that person anymore as well, where you've shifted, things change. I think sometimes we hold on to what you've always done. And I'm a big one for that. And going back to old, even though it was so good, I felt so good in those times, but that's not serving me right now because I'm noticing within my body. If you're really in tune with your body, you'll start to see things that, okay, this is not serving me like it used to. This is different. It's a different space, different energy.
Yeah. What I've learned about when my brain sends me back, like wanting things from the past, when part of a chunk of my past comes back up, is there's something in that I need. I don't need the whole picture. It may not be what I even think about, but there's something in that each time that once I click the key in the right spot, like I go, that's because memory is there for a reason, right? When you go through things, is your brain wants you to not be harmed. It wants you to succeed. It wants you to live and usually will procreate as well, depending on what stage you're in your life. Your brain has very set things at a basic level. And when I have these memories that come up, is I'm like, what is my brain asking of me? It doesn't want me to go the whole way back. And eventually I get there and I find the little key, the little nugget I was supposed to learn that I missed in the whole picture back then. And I don't think I could do that unless I was constantly investing in myself or looking after myself, just on a general note. And that's just one of the benefits. And I'm a big believer in the best way to invest is to start with where you're at and what is possible. Yeah. As in, like, one of the most self-destructing things I used to do was like, and it's just an exuberant goal. And what I've learned, and I spoke about this, is how I've actually reached what you could call them goals or manifestations they really became, was by looking after me every day and investing. I ended up in New York. I didn't focus on getting to New York, where when I was really sick, it was a magical world that I thought I'd never get to, right? And all of a sudden I'm standing there and absolutely enthralled in it, so enjoying it, because even there I'm doing my little habits, right? I'm like, where's the park? Where's the mango in the park? Where's coconut water? And I'm so busy doing my investing in New York. I'm enjoying the moment. And so I focus on those. But I was saying this morning as well to JJ, about how it took me a year and a half of walking to get to running, but I only got to running after being so sick because I walked every single day. And during that time, I never focused on running, only focused on next step. And most of my life, I would wake up and go, I'm going to be a runner. I'm going to eat this set diet. I'm going to do that, and wondered why it never worked. It became so painful. But those little investments that I did every day, and if it got too hard or old memories came back, I just sat there and just have my coconut water, go to the beach, do my job, and I wouldn't move forward. But it really, like, over time, I've learned that those little investments build up to dreams that you never thought possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you shared that. Yeah, really is a whole process and a journey of not trying to be somewhere too far ahead, just the next step. And just those little, like I say, those little steps do compound. And that's why the compound effect. They share so many stories of how this compound takes effect in what you would never expect. So they do. And look at like ourselves, for me, I never expected to be the raw vegan, and even vegan, back in 15 years ago, I was like, that's not possible, or even what I want to do. And then just by natural progression, investing in myself,
yes.
it just becomes a natural. Yeah, I always said, oh, raw vegan's extreme. That's not going to happen. And even drinking so many juices and the way I eat now, from when I look back 10 years ago, that is not even in my radar. Not even so. Never say never. Be open-minded, and just see what happens. And just see the next. Talk about running. When I was getting into running, I was doing. I ended up doing a lot of half marathons, but I don't do much running now. But I used to just remember when I first ever started, I couldn't even run to the first lamppost, so I just walk to the lamppost, and then over a few weeks, it was like I'll do a little run. And then I built up to sprinting, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, now I'm doing 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. So
yes.
This is no rush.
I always like kind of revert back to that, but you've got to start. Like, don't start with the big goalpost, is what I say, is how society's set up. Like, it's like, lose 15 pounds in 3 weeks, or in a month or something. It's like that. In 10 years time, when I ask you about that, you'll go, oh, that's something I threw my money away to. What about in that 1 month, invest in yourself? Or what about come to Phuket in April with Toni and myself? And it can, like, I'm not saying that that's going to fix everything, but it starts to help support you doing things like eating fresh food, grounding, doing morning yoga, showing up for yourself and being supported by other people. I'm very excited.
Yes. So if anyone's interested, 18th of April for a week, 7 days in Phuket, Thailand. It's going to be so magical. Yeah, I'm really excited because it's the first, so it's perfect timing, because I was saying about the new year. It's actually the Thai new year on the 13th and the 14th. So anything that you're already starting to desire to create, it's going to really solidify once, especially when you've come to the retreat. I think it is interesting. It's so, because I'm really based more on my new year on Thai. I mean, it's built in me to celebrate on the 31st of the year, of December every year, but I do celebrate Chinese New Year a little bit as well, and the Thai New Year. And the Thai New Year feels much more, well, when you find out like what it really means. And it's really, for me, I just say now it's a 4 month now steps to really bring in. And sometimes it might not be bringing new things. It might, like I was saying earlier, shedding some things that are really not serving you anymore. These maybe the beliefs that you've got that you're holding on to, the people you're holding on to, stuff. This was for me, I really cleaned out. I did a dopamine fast over from Christmas to the new year. And I really started to clean out my whole house, getting rid of stuff that I hadn't used in 6 months, 12 months. I wasn't that brutal, not as I have been before, but it's a great opportunity too. And if you haven't, maybe start looking into some decluttering, now, not just of your things, but stuff in your mind, and I go through my phone as well, all the pictures, I organize everything, so everything's kind of a fresh, especially for February. For me, I'm sort of like, I did a big stint, not too much in the dopamine fast, because I wanted to have more rest, but really start to look at what can I let go of, because when you make room and space, you can really allow more of the good things in. So really have a look at if that's the other option for yourself, if that's where it feels more in resonance, is what can you let go of, what can you shed, what can you, it could be like skip the dairy now, skip the meat, skip something, skip whatever you're eating, maybe the packet of crisps that you have, or like I went over the years, when I look back, I used to eat fish and chips every Friday evening. It's a thing you did in England. And I dropped that. I'm going to have no fish nights. And then it was kebab on a Saturday night, dirty kebab. Do you know what kebab is? Do you eat kebab?
Yeah,
You know?
well, kebab, there's two things we call kebab. One is, and when I was still vegan, I used to get like falafels in a wrap,
Right.
it's like a tortilla, and they do tzatziki and they do tabbouleh in it. But also in Australia, we call, I think they call it in America shish kebabs. Like,
Yes.
you can do veggie, or you can do, obviously there's meat, but we would call those kebabs as well growing up. So we had the double kebab thing going on, double entendre. I think that's what it's called. Do you have that?
Yeah, we had it all. Yeah, you could have it all, but it was a thing I wanted to let go of the weekends. Like, okay, what can I have instead? So just replacing and letting go was a really big thing for me. And yeah, this year is very much, I've just done pretty much the decluttering of many things, and now now investing in myself of what can I bring in that I want to shift within internally, not necessarily externally. So what is it that and how I find what guides me is just being in, if you're not too sure or it's overwhelming, just take some step back, and it's that little step by step compound effect is something small that you could work on, and that could just mean maybe a morning of before you leave the house, you do like 20 minutes of reading. I've spoken about before about my rituals that I do, and these have been built over the years. I do some solid rituals every day, the bookends of the day, where I'm reading, I'm meditating, I'm exercising. They're my 3 things I do every morning before I even do anything else. And it's just, even if it's like 10 minutes, I do it. It's just inbuilt now. It's so natural for me, and it really sets my day up. Same for the end of the evening. And that's a part of my investment in myself. And everyone gets the best of me then, because when, like I was sharing, when you're not happy, when you're not caring for yourself, you think that you're helping somebody else by not caring for yourself, but you're not. That energy, that, like I said, people become angry, they become resentful, they don't see the best of you, so they're not getting a good experience then of you, if you're not looking after yourself. So actually, if you want to do it for others, then that's taking care of yourself. Will naturally, a byproduct would be you be taking care of them and taking care of yourself.
Everything you just said there. And someone said here, aren't kebabs dead pepperoni? And sadly, yes, that's like exactly what they are. So there's a few just people joining in on the conversation.
I know we've got a few. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome.
Yeah, I've got a few people. I'm just scrolling back, but it's going through the comments.
I'd like to know where everyone's from as well. Where are you all in the world?
Let us know where you are. So when I think of no dopamine, I think I've mentioned this. I had 2 major experiences where there was no social media, nothing but basically nature and indoors. Well, obviously I was on psych medication because I was locked up in a psych unit for 4 months, and they didn't have TVs and I couldn't concentrate. And then the second one was when I got FND and couldn't see the television properly or couldn't concentrate. And then I worked out I couldn't be around it. And then also because I'd been homeless, I started off with just a couple of donated things. Extraordinary experiences, horrible off the back end, but nothing is like that. I feel a little overconsumed right now. I need to cull back, right? But having it's funny because I don't have many fears anymore, and I put it down to the fact that I've lost. There's nothing more except not breathing could you have possibly taken away from me. And I think we have a lot of fear and don't realize around not having a lot of stuff. That's why we consume, right? Is we think we're better, we think we're more stable, we think we're more comfortable. I will tell you right here, the best even though my brain barely worked, the most I was floating around and happy in some, maybe with the reality we're supposed to be in, was when I had no TV. I still don't have a TV, but I couldn't watch screens. I had music. I had 2 pairs of shoes, I think 3 pairs of pants, I think 2 shorts, 1 jeans, a mattress on the floor. And I was so grateful that I finally had a roof over my head. So I had a roof, but because I could get up from the raw food, all I wanted to do was be outdoors. I've been locked up most of my life. And so when your brain is eradicated electronics. It's like, it's so different. There's no words to describe it, but I will say what I noticed, which was interesting, was each time I've come back online or been able to concentrate or see things, the thing that's most apparent is the people in society that we praise as beautiful look like smeared aliens. So because your eyes are only exposed to around here very natural people, haven't had a lot of changes, right? When you get on, the people that you used to think of as attractive and they used to be on front of magazines and they've got TV shows and whatever, they look so disfigured because your brain has been deprogrammed. Like it doesn't have this like and that happened both times, when it's 4 months and the other one was a year and a half. And that's the most apparent thing that comes to me when you get back on. You kind of like, did I used to think that body was like something, but now it seems normal again. It seems like, which is quite sad. I probably should have stayed outdoors more.
Yeah, that's a great observation. In the sense, I do feel that you come back very different. You have a different outlook. I'm very conscious of. I don't, like I said, there's no mindlessly scrolling. So for those that don't know what dopamine fast is, because many don't, I am going to be sharing some information on this and what I've experienced over this. I did it for a week, not solid, because I had some emergencies come up, so I did have access to my WhatsApp, but I didn't have no social media. And I was here and there, but very little, and very little, if not anything, TV, and then just water and coconut water. So I was really going within and meditating. I did do reading. They say not to read for your dopamine fast, but I did read because it's a part of our book club, Carl Cece's Illusion of Money, which is one of my favorite books. I read that, and I was journaling, and lots of insights were coming up, a lot of shedding more deeper, because it's all layers. It's layers that we're just uncovering, and I was like, there was a lot of stuff that I thought I'd healed has come back. So it was really interesting to see what was coming up, because sometimes we can get stuck or feel what's going on right now. And if you're feeling a little bit of troubled, then a dopamine fast, you can do it for 24 hours. I do these regularly. I aim for Sundays, at least one Sunday out of the month. I do it, if not most Sundays, where I'm literally, there's just no social media. There's no I'm literally in nature, and I'm mostly I'm very blessed. My lifestyle, I forget how much it's so normal to me. When people come and they're like, you've not been on your phone all day, or I've been to the beach, I've been with the dogs, and I'm just present, and there's nothing else going on. And they're like, you're not getting bored? And I'm like, well, this is the problem, because what I started to do was, when I was having a lot of stimulus, like a lot of TV, especially just before Christmas, early December, watching a lot of Christmas movies, Christmas music, I was getting like irritated, and I was getting more anxious and more bored. Like I wasn't appreciating. So it was a great observation for me when I came into the dopamine fast. Everything just seemed romantic, and I was romanticizing like the simplest things and loving life, like you're saying with the grounding, just going outside and being in nature was really making me so full of love. But when I got lost in, and I did watch a couple, I'm not completely off like watching TV. I don't have a TV myself, but where I'm staying at the moment, I was getting right into some trashy stuff on TV and some series and movies. And I was left feeling more like just irritated and anxious and just not really, just disconnected. And they were I'm more and more sensitive now. So for me, you might say it's extreme, but I cannot entertain I don't want to be part of the TVs, all that. And it's not even about, before I used to stop TV because I was like, why am I building someone else's dream when I can build my own? Still for that, focusing on your own stuff. But really now for me, it's really presence, full presence, being with people, just sat with them. Carolina, one of my friends who's staying with me, we just been hanging out and doing nothing, just sitting there, sometimes talking a little bit, and then we're just sat there, like not even doing anything. Yeah. And even still at times I think, is this a good thing? Do you feel like we should be? Sometimes I felt like I should be doing something, but I was just so like present and still, and just actually allow my body to just not do anything, my mind not doing anything, my body not doing anything. I tell you, it's a game changer. And I know for some it'll be really difficult, really challenging, and you might even get irritated. But the first day is always a little like that. But the second day, you could just be literally sat down in your garden, sat down on the sofa, and there's just nothing. Like, it's just peace, ultimate peace. And by the third day, that's next for me. If you can get into that third day, it's a really nice, it's a real deep, like, you really don't need, like you say, you come in, you're seeing things with a different lens, and what you thought would be, like I said, I was getting a little bored, like, what should I do next with next year, what am I doing, and and I had to refrain that, keep thinking, like, just be right now. I don't need to think about the future. I need to just be here right now. I'm not saying you don't have to do that at all. There's a period in your day, in your life, or certain days where we don't have to keep striving or fixing and doing stuff. Just being a human being and taking a leaf of what the Thais do here. A lot of the Thais are just mulling. We call it mulling around. Have you heard that word, mulling?
Yeah.
Mulling around, doing nothing. Like, I'm just not actually trying to clean. I mean, I did go through some phases of tidying and organizing, but I was really reminding myself just to sit and just see things and just appreciating. And just really sitting with the dogs. I have dogs, a lot of dogs. I had quite a lot of dogs over Christmas period, and that's been wonderful. But having days where there's been very little is just a game changer.
Oh, you made me think there about how since I lost, my life's been quite extraordinary due to health issues and being in bed and then just getting worse, really losing myself, being homeless and getting a place and going raw. I haven't been bored once yet. I think I spent so much time alone that as long as I don't have pain, because my big thing was disease caused pain. That was the biggest thing from about 16 to 30. Once I had the hysterectomy, that pain stopped. I had other pain came up. So really pain for ages. But the way I'm hydrated with fresh foods, I can just, wherever I am, be happy, because it's not like I'm not being attacked, but that could change. I feel like my brain is still really healing from what happened, and I go with it. But I probably do. I do notice things for me are so dysregulated if I start turning movies on my laptop. So the only place I can watch TV or movies is my laptop. I'm much better to go for a walk, go for a run, go to the beach, and the more time I do that, and then I go onto social media, not my work, but like I go for a scroll, is the way I see it, interpret it, appreciate it, drawn to, like, especially on Instagram, especially when I first healed, I noticed there's really inspirational quotes that come up. And I say Instagram because I couldn't read long passages, especially at the start. So just, you can appreciate things more, right? Is you go on a dopamine detox or a dopamine fast, is the life you come back to. I'm hoping people have a higher appreciation from. Yes, probably, hopefully not do a few things if they don't serve you anymore. But that's what's missing, right? Everyone has what they need, a roof over their head, food. Hopefully most people have at least a couple people that love them and they can talk to them. And then from there, how we've ended up in this overconsumed, layered by layered, and that we have so many issues, when the true thing that I really know, and it isn't just food, it is like, I can't do what I do without sleep, food, my movement, grounding, and making sure, like, mentally and stably, and love, like the family aspect, right? And I don't know if I mentioned sleep, I think I did, but those things are what I work on. I don't worry about the big stuff. The big stuff just comes, like showing up for work and ending up on great trips and planning retreats only comes because my focus is all these things. And as soon as my eyes off the ball, even in one area, watch what my dreams are start to unravel. I never knew this. My whole life was like, I'm only going to get that because that deodorant brand that girl wears, she's famous. Oh, I'll get that and I'll become that. My brain literally was like that. And then by the time we're adults, we think it's not like that. But it's been so programmed as a child when all the things I've ever wanted only come because all I do is work on me, invest in me.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like I really like the fun I have and love I give to my nieces is exponential than me laying in bed so medicated. I can barely do anything but watch half a cartoon, if that, with them. Now, what they get is just natural stuff coming out of me because I've worked on myself. It's definitely worth investing, guys.
It really is. And let's just dive deep a little bit into these key foundations of sleep. Oh my goodness, it's so crucial. Quality and research has shown, and I've just, because I've done it for so many years now, over 10 years, really mastered my sort of sweet spot of what I need. 7 hours is for me, is my sweet spot. I always aim for like 8, but 7. And it's between 10 and 2 deep sleep. They say if you can get to bed before 10, I usually between 9 and 10 get to bed, and that's when I'm best. It's not all the time, but most of the time this is my routine. And I notice a difference just in my energy, everything. And I think that is the number one for me is sleep, and everything else just flows better. But that rapid eye movement, deep state sleep is between 10 and 2. And then usually people can even go, like some of my friends go around 7 p.m. and they get up around 3 because that's a really spiritual moment. You haven't heard of that? So I've been naturally just getting up around 4, 5, usually around 4. And I've been meditating and just focused on that. And I've noticed it. But it's just a natural, I get up naturally at that time. And I'm always out the door by 6 a.m. I'm at the beach grounding. I'm at the beach with the dogs. I go in the water, and it's my morning ritual, and I absolutely love it. And I catch it. That for me, I want to do that for the rest of my life. I love it. But sleep is definitely crucial. And I think if you think when the sun goes down, you want to be resting. I know this is not possible for many people, but you do your best. But for me, because I used to work in nightclubs, so I was always up late. So I really made a conscious decision to have a lifestyle, and it didn't happen overnight. But again, those moment by moments, little compound effects, that I created this lifestyle where I'm winding down around 7, 8. And I'm literally in bed. I like to be in my bed by 9. Some days earlier, some days later, but on average, and then getting up naturally around 4. This perfect. It's such a great routine. And some people say, like, gosh, you go to bed so early. But I'm like, well, it's not. I don't want artificial lighting. I don't want too much stimulus. I really want to be as natural and to nature, mimic nature as much as I can. When I do that, I'm thriving, not just existing, surviving.
I sleep once. Sorry, that's amazing, Kerry. And thank you for the love. I'm sending you lots of love. I sleep from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Listen to this. I love this. Walk the dogs at 2 a.m., gym at 2:30, work from home, doing my lists, 4 a.m. school lunches, 6 a.m.
How many hours do you sleep? What's your sweet spot? Because everyone does have
7. That looks like she's sleeping 7 hours. So 6 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going down with the sun, and you are essentially then.
I know in Europe, I know that summertimes it's like the light. I do miss those lighter evenings, but here in Thailand it is consistent. Sun comes down around 6:30, and it rises around 6. So between 6 and 7 are the times always throughout the year. So I'm very blessed. It's so consistent.
Yeah, I'm so early. So I have been busy out, like getting back. Now that I'm doing really well on this keto, I feel like I'm in this catch-up mode where I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do this, that excitement mode. But usually, like after this, I'm quite happy. I'm actually just had a thought that I do want to put my pajamas on and just slow my body down. And I love to be up early. And the reason as well is I coincide with most of what I do with the USA. Most of my followers are USA or Canada. And so when I wake up, I'm like, they're all up. And then by the afternoon, I slow down usually into the night. Even if it is some things with Europe, it's never like it is in the morning. Like I feel like I'm like in the day rush of like what I've got to do. How do you feel? You do a lot of US work, don't you?
I do, but to be honest, I've really I don't go on any social media or anything until it's weird times. So I aim for their mornings and my evenings. So sort of like it's not perfect for me, but for mornings is my sacred time in going to the beach with the dogs. That's my.
Sure.
I have to play because if you think in Thailand, it gets hot so early, so it's
True.
better at 6 a.m. It's the coolest time of the day. So doing any movement, walking the dogs, 6 till 8 is my window. So I also want the dogs off leash. So I have like 6 to 10 dogs sometimes, rescue dogs. I take them out and off leash. So it's the best time. The beach is quiet then. So, and we've got a nice group of us that meet every morning. So I get my connection, my love, and the dogs have fun. And then the dogs leave me alone all day. They're all chilled because they've had the mental stimulation.
I love that.
Activity. So when I come back, I go and now I'm getting into a routine of training. I was coming back and doing work at 8 because I was hitting the American, like I was having calls. But at this moment in time, I'm pushing them further in the night with later in the day, not late evening, but it's not perfect. But my mornings at the moment, how it feels for me is very sacred in the sense of I could go on the calls and do because I'm full of energy. I've got the best time.
I'm full of energy in the morning. I'm like a get up and go and just do. And I guess I don't feel like I've seeked this as much as I've matched it. As in it just matches where my energy's at, and then doing all the podcasts in the morning. I prefer to do my lives. I've pushed usually Pilates back now. It used to be first thing in the morning, but it's too much to then rush back and do all this. So I kind of do it around lunchtime, do a bit more work, but then by 3 usually, it just really, it really, really slows down. But I'm as I said, I'm happy to be in my pajamas, lay on my bed, like let myself just wind down. The earlier I go to sleep, the happier I am when I wake up early, which is around 4 or 5 or 6. And usually that's my time where I have some juice. I'll go for a walk, but I do usually check my phone. I usually talk to Jillian. Usually it's our match time. So usually the first thing I do is I don't even look at other stuff. We just go straight into talking. So so that's kind of like part of my routine.
Yeah. It's nice having these little rituals.
It is. I saw Kerry, you live near New South Wales, near Cessnock. Cessnock's beautiful and very close to me. That's nice. Send me a message on. I think you're seeing me on YouTube. If you can send me an email, because I don't know. Can't remember how far Cessnock. If I'm thinking of Cessnock, it's a couple of hours away. We do raw food meetups here in Sydney. If that's something you want to be part of, send me an email at
doing that once a month, Skye.
ARSKYE@gmail.com, like raw Skye. At the moment, we kind of are. It's ended up that way, but the worldwide raw food meetups are every 3 months. But we've got a nice little group going on now. There's a little Facebook group. We've got a little chat going on. So we're trying to do different beaches down here near Sydney area at the moment. And we've done fruit meetups and yes, raw. Thanks for the like. Wow, you have a very successful channel. What is your content? Thank you. It is health, self-love, self-growth, raw foods, being the best version of you that you can be. Do you want to start on this one?
So I flip in and out, if I'm honest. I feel there's a lot of conflicting information on salt. I'm actually I'm not against it anymore. I used to be against it because I felt that was excavating my cellulite. But because I brought it back in through my own experimentation, I don't feel salt is it's obviously processed salt, not Himalayan salt, Celtic salt. I'm for it, definitely, but I don't feel you need a lot. I don't use it outside in restaurants. It's when I put it in, It's not often. I mean, I am going to look at doing some water fasts with the salt. I've never added in salt, but I will be. But overall, I think I have it. I'm not opposed to it. I know everyone has a mixed opinion on it, but actually, it's not as toxic. It depends on where it's coming from, and test it in your body for yourself. Again, this is another thing of depending on where your body is at, how things can react. And that's why we
Yeah.
always guide. We're guides. We're not, I won't even say we're coaches, we're guides in how you feel. So let you be your own guru, and you've got to experiment. You might find I was so strong on not having salt from my own
Me
research
too.
or studies. Now I bring it in, and I see so many studies backing it up. So it is one of those you have to, yeah, experiment yourself and see how you feel.
So this is my theory. I don't think, and this is what I always come back to, is I never thought humans were designed to eat fruit, but I don't think humans were always designed to have this massive microbiome we have. I think we've had to adapt. I did no salt for 2 years and ended up with a salt deficiency and severe issues, and I was drinking ocean water because then I couldn't get any in. And I agree with you, is we do not, and this is just Himalayan, Celtic, not, I don't think I've had any table salt, but I'm not against it. If you need salt, you need salt. But animals in the wild don't think about salt, but you'll see them, some animals all over the world, when they need to start licking salt mines, or they'll go and drink salt water. We are no different, and I don't think we were designed that way, but we need minerals, and there's not enough minerals in the fruit, hence why we eat greens and vegetables and nuts and seeds, is everything is not in the perfect delivery system, right? And even if you have, if you let, everyone will go, oh, but what about celery and tomato? And so celery is the saltiest, right? 5 heads of celery is only half a teaspoon of salt. And there's actually a book called The Salt Fix, which is worth reading. At most medical diagnoses that they used to say stop salt for actually improve. And it doesn't just improve the person's life, mental health. Do I think you need a teaspoon a day? In my experience, no. But maybe I'm just healthier now. But me having a few cracks of salt is literally the difference between my body functioning and not functioning. But yeah, the other caveat to having it through celery is you have it with liquid unless you dehydrate it, and that means you pee it out. So the reason we need sodium is because the body's getting rid of toxins, right? It's the renal system is constantly getting rid of fluid, and you cannot get rid of that unless you have the magnesium and phosphorus, and you have salt, right? Well, all the electrolytes, but salt is the reason that the kidneys can get rid of liquid, which holds toxins that the body's getting rid of, right? So in my experience, and so if you have it with fluid, you're drinking the fluid, the salty water, right? The celery juice, or you're eating celery, is it all that liquid that comes with it will have to, the salt's used to get rid of the liquid, is what I wanted to say when I was going around about there. But my testing on myself, and it's worth, like what Toni said, is see where you end up. But I ended up with terrible problems. And then because you don't have it in so long, and your microbiome for me was only used to, basically I was living off like watermelon, because then you get extremely thirsty as well when you have salt issues and electrolyte issues. And it was hard for me to get back in. But I'm in a good spot now. And yeah, that's my take on it, if that helps in any way. So yeah, someone said, I have a salt addiction. I love salt so much. I often get asked the question, they're like, I'm doing all raw foods. I've got the raw food thing down, but I have a salt addiction. I'm like, if you're doing raw foods and you're doing your movement and exercise, you can work on your salt addiction. Like you're doing, like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can work on that. Like you're already doing so much good. Never forfeit remembering how good, if you're doing a lot of good habits for yourself, don't let one thing make you be the whole personality that you have.
Yeah. Don't, yeah, when you say I've got a salt, I have, it's yeah, you're amplifying it.
And then you seek it. So you seek what you train the brain to do. And usually the reason you see your negative is because the way the world is fear-based and very fear-driven is we've mostly been driven to make decisions from fear. We won't have a home. We won't have a job. We won't have a partner. Have you married yet? Have you had kids yet? So everything's driven from fear. And so when we come across here, we start to go, oh, I'm doing whole food, plant-based, but I'm not raw. Or like you come at someone with the negative. And what was really apparent was when I first got well and I started to meet up with friends again. And I'm like, I'm raw. It saved my life. Like every problem is gone. I feel really good. And they go, I can't do raw. I have kids. I can't do raw food. I don't like blueberries. I can't do raw food because I just don't like that fiber. And I was like, it was like two people came at me with, oh, I should add some more fresh food in. And another person said, I'm going to go home and try this. Most people told me why they couldn't do it. It made me think, gosh, Skye, most of my life I was probably presented with really good ideas. And I told people why I couldn't do them.
Yeah.
Like we as humans come at so much. But I was like I like to become at things now with making my like a clearer choice. But that was very fascinating.
It's interesting when we focus on what we can't do, what we can't be, when we open up what you can have, it's a whole different world. We only see what we've been fed. I'm going into some conspiracy stuff here. You know, we're very conditioned. If you look at where we're programmed, that's why I think TV is called programs, because we're programmed for that way only. So
Yes.
I started to become quite rebellious and going where everyone else is going. I'm like, where else can I go? So like, I'm always looking for what's the other way? What's another way? What can I do? What, instead of having that mind, it's a fixed mindset, which is actually very limiting. If we have an open mindset, we can start to really see what other paths can come for us that are meant for us, you know, and not this fixated, just only way. I think once you open that up, man, life is so good. Like lifestyles. Look at it was only until I went traveling. When you stay in one place with the same people, the same foods, the same experiences, same events, that's all you're ever gonna see. I always call it like the straw effect. That's all you're gonna see is that straw. But as soon as you travel, as soon as you go move, you're seeing other people's lifestyles, you see what's possible. And I really wanted to build my confidence so that I could see a world with a bigger lens rather than this narrowed lens, this straw lens. And once you see that, you're like, and this is what you're offering, like in our channels, we're offering other alternatives, like look at another way of doing things, of being, and what we can have. And this is all about abundance and all about this openness and trying new things that you never thought. Like when you get rid of that fear and that fixation, oh my gosh, like I now say never, because I've said things in the past, I'll never do that. Oh, that's not my way of being.
Yeah, no, you know what? I eat my own words on this, and this is like the shadow work stuff, right? So anytime I get fiery about a person or a situation or something, and in truth, I'm a pretty happy person, so I'm very aware, hyper aware when it happens. I promise you I have a lesson to learn in that person's shoes in about 2 weeks' time. So I'm much more accepting now that what is going on here, like with me, because I will literally eat my own words. That person may not know, but I'm very conscious that what that person did or said is where I am at right now. And I was judging. I always like to say I'm just judging different versions of me. When so much was clear when I think it's the raw foods was like, if I treat everybody out there as just different incarnations or versions of myself, what would I want the person to learn, or what do I want the person to know, or you know? And then sometimes we go off keel, right, where it's like, bloody hell, do they not understand or something? And I'm like, then I go, now I know to go, you're about to learn that lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't. Yeah, I think once you do that as well, life just feels so much lighter and just more heart-centered and aligned with who we really are. And that's my discovery of this year, is really figuring out this vessel, this soul, this being of this God's child, this universal's child. You know, it's
I love
clear
that.
that I want to be more childlike and open and curious and finding new things and paths that you never thought was even possible. So I think this year I'm going to open up a lot more of like a connection to what just this, what we've been talking about, just different lenses of how we can really enrich and romanticize our lives and really love it the
Yes.
best way we can, because one lens is just not the way we have to be in. And look at the effort base to struggle base, effortless and effort. We can really change that timeline, that
Yeah.
paradigm of always go, 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 doing, hustle, 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 fix, fix, fix. What about this whole present surrender, moving with more of intention and alignment? That's a better way to live. So let's invest in that. Invest in you, in that lens that maybe you never thought was possible.
That's right. And if you don't know where to start, what I would suggest is kind words to yourself. How often we are like, so, oh, you can't do this. And even when you're negative to somebody else, really, you're kind of saying it to yourself. You are, your brain doesn't know. Is the more kind words I use and the more I say the words like love and like and happiness and joy, and that's amazing, is when things aren't going so well, they default up. I'm not saying they're the whole package, but they're kind of there supporting me. It's not now more negativity on top of something negative that's happened or I'm going through. And so there's value in treating yourself kindly. And I do believe these steps can help you move towards better choices. But it's all about,
I feel less, they say you've been programmed. Program yourself for positive, happier thoughts, not choosing. You can be delusional. I love seeing people, when I see people who are just consistently working on their happiness and love for themselves, people say they're delusional, and I'd rather be in that space than this cynical. And I'm still cynical. I'm still a bit like, I'm not mastered it, I'll be honest, but I am envious of those that live in the life with full, like you, with the love and the likeness, because of I know where you've come from, but still for some it's still a challenge. We're still in that program of life's, it's hard, but yes, we can see things totally at a different lens, and let's work on that different lens. So this year, put your rose tinted glasses on and create a life and body and inner peace for yourself. Really work for that.
I love that. That was said so beautifully. I did want to ask something which has been coming up here about, Kerry keeps asking about, she's like, I can't do raw food because I think I saw it up here. I always want, is this the right question? I can't do raw because I always want cold and hot soup. And this is where the can't has stopped you actually reaching your goals, because you can have the soup at the same temperature you eat it. You can't eat soup. You think it's hot, but it's actually sitting at about the temperature that you can have it raw. You get your Vitamix, you put in the pumpkin, you put in the garlic, tomatoes, onions, onion powder, a bit of coconut cream or just coconut flesh, blend it. When the steam starts coming, it's going to be about 43 degrees Celsius. The taste that only your taste buds can do. You think you're eating hot, you burn it, cook, right? And then you have to let it cool. You can't eat it. Your body is 36 degrees Celsius. You can't, the mouth is very sensitive. So the can't has stopped you doing what you absolutely can do. And always cold, my liver was failing. I was anemic. I had no B12. I've been 37 kilos, 47 kilos. And I did it because the power of sunlight. At the start, I was having warm teas. I was having, you can have the food warm. I speak to people in London, thinking of you. I've coached people there who eat their nice cream next to the heater, who get their raw food, their curry, and put in the dehydrator, or they blend their sauce nice and warm and pour it all over. And all of those, to me, my brain thinks they're hot, to be fair. Like when I crave hot food, I don't know.
Hot you're after, like you said, you nailed it. It's you wait until it's warm. So
yes.
That's what you're creating. So don't overheat it, because you can't have it anyway. You wait till it cools down. Just get it to the temperature that is for your body to eat, to absorb. Because we don't want hot. And even if you, like, your body, I know it adapts to even hotter than most, but it's never going to be burnt. You can't possibly eat it. It's burning. So just keep it at the warm temperature, and it's raw. You've not denatured any of it.
It's right. It's all an illusion. When you start asking, I always ask this question anytime I go to say I can't, which I don't really do anymore. all that comes up is how I'm going to start. And that is, well, you know, I could say I can't have boiled soup, but where's the heat? The heat's the dehydrator, the heat's the Vitamix. What can I do with that? Well, I'm having sauces. And man, I have had soups. Most of my soups are better because most of the time people eat tin or very cooked soup. So you cook a lot of, man, it's like a punch. It's like, woo, I love it. So you can definitely have all of those things. And as Marcus Rothkrantz said, he said, you actually can't eat at the temperature you think that you're eating it at. And by the end of a meal, it's usually half cold anyway, unless you go back and reheat it. And so it's your brain doesn't know much difference. So you can definitely do it. And it's been wonderful.
Yeah, there's many ways. So these questions where you say you can, if you really have a block and it's just you don't see a way, that's where we come in. This is what we're offering every Tuesday. We go live.
Yeah.
We've got the retreat. We're going to show you what is possible and how you can thrive and not just survive. Thriving is what 2026 is about. We ain't just
I love that.
We're thriving. So these calls every Tuesday, we're going to be talking about how we can really step into that thriving way of being and really working on our limiting. Like I said, it's about shedding these limiting beliefs. Is really, if that's what you're working on right now, let's have a look at the limiting beliefs that we have. You don't feel it's a limiting belief. You actually do believe it. But
that's it.
But this is where we're going to, on these calls, we're actually going to, we are going to talk about them. So, but this is what the retreat, when you're in person, you're meeting real people in person, in a great surrounding. This is where you're going to see what's holding you back, what you can't, because sometimes you know it's possible, but you have too many limiting beliefs or you have this resistance and you can't seem to break through. And that's by surrounding yourself with others, like-minded souls that have gone through that, something similar. So this is an opportunity to join our retreat. All that information's on the website, rawlishisyou.com, and you put it in the description box as well. And it's for 7 days, full immersion. And it's just a beautiful experience of real, whole, nourishing foods. It's abundant. It's not restrictive. It's delicious. It's tasty. You're going to get a lot of ideas to take back with you to implement. You're going to be surrounded by nature, the beach, the dogs. Hopefully you like dogs, but you don't have to if you don't want to be involved with that, but you can. And just being with us and like-minded souls and just really enjoying what this life can really, really show us. So yeah, all that's in the information. But if you've got any other questions, but other than that, with Tuesdays, we go live. So this is an opportunity to really ask away.
And that is an investment in yourself. So this is the other thing, I don't know which live I was talking about this on, but is people, when they don't pay for something, tend not to show up. And this is why when you work in life and you make money, it's better to make options not to destruct yourself, but invest in yourself. Like retreats, like coaches, like raw food, like things that make you feel amazing. And you forgot to mention something, and that is that Chef Garesh is flying in from Dubai. He's the raw Indian chef. He will be creating all sorts of raw cuisines, as well as, it's Thailand, guys, tropical fruit galore.
Yeah, an abundance of everything that you can imagine. Reset, chill out, relax, beautiful live music, just what your body, your soul really craves. I'm excited.
Yes. And anyone else listening, just because I've seen a lot of comments on my hair and one here on my skin, is that I am doing a sea moss gel challenge right now. So I'm doing 2 tablespoons of sea moss gel every day for the month of January. It's full of 92 of the 102 minerals the human body needs. It's got the iodine. I wasn't getting enough iodine. I wasn't looking after that area, my thyroid. And so if you want to start, there's a good habit which is not too life altering. That's why I want to do this challenge. It's not like something very new to a person. You can try adding a tablespoon in your smoothie or in your breakfast or wherever you want to put it. So if you want to know more, have a look on my channel in the reels. There's videos. Search Raw Skye and sea moss gel and see what comes up. See what magic explodes. Yeah. So thanks, guys. We'll be back next week, same time. We hope some of you come on the retreat. We'd love to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.